Hello guys, welcome back. I'm Logic and this is Obsessite.
Hello again.
And this is our little mini podcast because we're just doing a weekly thing now to discuss the ATV Burndown and blockers and whatnot. So yeah, it's been an interesting little segment, don't you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was quite good that they top loaded with it as well, so that you got that not over and done with, but the meat and potatoes, which is what most people are watching it for this week, was right there, and it was presented pretty well, I thought.
It was pretty good. I definitely think that I thought it was going to be a little bit more in depth than it was, but it was kind of like, yeah, we're having some troubles, and that's really about all it was. It didn't feel like, I thought it was going to be a bit more in depth than that, but maybe I was expecting too much.
Yeah. I think they did it on purpose, if you know what I mean. I think they actually kept it pretty vague on purpose, which might not make much sense. Mainly because I think they're finding more issues than perhaps they thought they were going to. And the way that Eric presented it was that we would be seeing this for quite some time, which makes me wonder whether it was further away than we think.
Well, I have a couple of thoughts about that. Basically, from the information that I got here, it seemed like they said that all these bugs need to be finished before they were released to Evo Kati. Do you think I'm correct in that? All the bugs, like the blocker, the critical, the high, the moderate. That's what he said in there. He said, once all these things have to be finished before we can release to Evo Kati. But to me, that makes no sense whatsoever. If you're going to kill all the major bugs before you go into Evo Kati, that was what we call a release.
I guess it depends on how major they are. I mean, in one of the segments, the chaps were talking about the fact that they did have a play session where there was no UI at all, and they had to use sound and things like that to actually find each other.
Well, that would be a critical one.
Well, even a blocker, because that's not the sort of thing we'd want to play with if we didn't have a UI. You know what I mean?
It'd be kind of interesting.
I think an awful lot of people. I mean, we had this discussion on the concierge chats earlier on today. Another reason why you should pay your $5 and get in there, because there's a lot of people thinking that the ETF could help with these bugs, but I don't know. We don't know how severe they are, or whether these are the sort of bugs that they normally quash before ETF starts. But we're only now seeing them.
No, I think the ETF would be doing a lot of these bugs. I think they feel like the 3.0 has to be like amazing. That's what I got from Chris, and he's like, say, oh, well, this is he even said it. This is slightly different than a normal release.
It's kind of like because there's so much in it. The Mobiglass episode this week, which we'll talk about after we've gone through the Burndown section, there's so much to the Mobiglass on its own, regardless of all the other stuff that we're going to be having access to.
Yeah, Mobiglass is pretty huge.
That you take Mobiglass on its own, that's a massive release, but that's only one small section of what 3.0 is. 3.0 is such a huge thing for them because it is basically their answer to 18 months to 2 years worth of bitching from various people and various places. Even bot backers have been complaining about it, and this is like saying, look, this is what we've been working on. This is why it's taken so long. Look at all this cool stuff you can play with. And they just want to make sure that there's no, really shonky bugs that people get. Like before ETF started, there were some really crappy bugs in the PTU, which, people weren't expecting to see. I think they're trying to make sure that there's nothing like that this time round that can't be misconstrued by certain sections of the gaming press and even certain relatively negative and vociferous backers can actually come up with. There's a lot of it about, even in the concierge chat, there's loads of negative Nellies in there, and you think, well, Christ, you've spent what you've spent to be there, and you're still complaining. It's like, well, why are you here?
I don't know.
If you don't think it's going to happen.
I think they have valid points to complain. I mean, there's also a point where you reach when you're in a sort of debugging and whatnot, that you got to sort of say, okay, well, a lot of to me it should be that the blockers, once the blockers are done, like the 10 blockers that are left, then they should release to Evocati, and then the rest. Then Evocati should try and help with the rest of the bugs. That's to me what it should be, but
it
doesn't
that's
look
fair
like
enough.
that's going to happen, which to me suggests another level of polish on top of the normal level of polish, which means
We talked. Yeah.
which means
Yeah,
we could be going to CitizenCon, like you said, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on our podcast. So on a few days back on Sunday, was it Saturday? I can't remember now. Where we think the level of polish that's being put on this is over and above anything that we've seen before. I mean, let's be honest. They have made some effort here. They've there's 4 less blockers than there were last week, 6 less critical, 1 less high and moderate. I mean, I think in total they got rid of 32 bugs off the list, but they added another 20, right? So as they're integrating all these new feature sets that have been developed in isolation in a way, they're finding more things that they have to fix when they all start talking together, which is kind of just how dev works. But I mean, right? Once the blockers are done, perhaps Evocati should be involved, and we just don't know whether these graphs that we're seeing with the numbers of bugs are the sort of things they would normally get to 0 before putting ETF involved or not. I don't think anyone's ever asked them that question, to be honest. That might not be a bad one to stick in the Ask a Devs forum.
Do you think that what was I going to say? I've forgotten what I was going to say. But once the blockers are done, say like all 10 blockers go away, do you think they should release Evocati? Personally,
if the critical bugs aren't infrastructure bugs that would stop people from being able to play, then yeah, because the more eyes we have on those critical bugs, the more information, the more data, the more metrics they'll have to fix them, and the quicker they'll get squished. But at the moment, there's been no examples of what a critical bug is from this particular list. Critical bugs.
A blocker should be any bug that prevents you from playing the game. A critical bug would be something that is sort of minor. Would be like the one with the wheels falling off your Ursa rover.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's logically what you would expect, but we don't know for sure if that's the way they actually categorize them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when all the blockers are done, you'd expect that they would want as much testing on those critical, high, and moderate ones as possible to make sure they get them dealt with quickly.
You would hope so.
But I mean, I just didn't like the way that Eric was saying that, this is our new weekly segment as we chart every week how closely we get to 3.0. When you say every week, that's not something that's going to be just for a fortnight. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Do you think Gamescom is affecting their ability to knock down these blockers and whatnot?
It depends on what they're trying to do for Gamescom. Potentially it could be. Maybe they just want to make sure that what they show at Gamescom is solid, isn't going to fall over when they're doing it live, and everything works. And it's taking the eye off the ball a little bit to getting all of these done. I mean, obviously they're working their tits off, frankly, to get all this dealt with for all of us. So there's no, let's get Gamescom first, and then we'll basically, I forgot the term. What is it? Then we'll crunch all the way through till CitizenCon to make sure 3.0 is ready.
But what are they going to do for CitizenCon then? You know what I mean? So it's like this time of year is really sort of crazy for them in terms of like
it's
having.
It's critical, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
really.
And even
I think they've got issues they weren't expecting. Personally, which has left them to add the Burndown section in. But I've still got confidence that they'll sort it out. And I agree with you. When the blockers are done, ETF should have the build, because that means it's playable. I mean, you look at the quality of the video they have shown, like this bit here, the Mobiglass. Amazing, right? It blew my mind when you look at it, how different that is and how much work has gone into it. And the detail you saw of the Ursa driving about, that looks awesome. You know, and if you can play that, even if the frame rate's only 15 to start off with, right? If you can play all of it, and there are some bugs that people pick up, as long as they're ETF log them, then give it to them. Let them deal with it.
Yeah, they were saying like, once you hit 15 players in a server, then it was major performance hit. But then just, if for ETF, just limit it to 15 players. You know what I mean? There's things, that they don't. That's not a blocker in my opinion. Having a performance hit once you hit 15, that's just a critical bug that needs to be fixed at some point.
Exactly.
With the Delta patcher, coming, that shouldn't be an issue. You could just release a patch every hour almost. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, true. I mean, one of the things they said right at the top of the Burndown section is most of the issues really are around memory use. And obviously, the more people as possible. If the memory uses are the critical ones, then give it to the Evocati to look at, because they'll be using different systems than because an awful lot of the systems they'll have in there will pretty much be the same. They might have different graphics cards and what have you, but the real testing will be done when it's out there, to the ETF and the PTU.
Did you see this? The visor boot sequence? Did you see this?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I just like the fact that it looks the same as the Mobiglass views.
Yeah,
it's all integrated.
Which is nice. It's a good system actually. I think it'll work well for the game, and I'm really pleased with it. So,
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, with holographic stuff going forward as it is, with Microsoft pushing it, I'd love to have a Mobiglass in real life. That's how cool it looks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be pretty awesome. So, I mean, with the blockers, where else? There was no. I really am really curious to know what the blockers are. I am. I'm just like, it's just saying blockers. I wish they would give more detail, but that's just me because I want more detail.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe if they categorized it, so we got 10 blockers, and we've got 5 of them are back end blockers, 3 of them are client side blockers, and whatever else is just build code based issues, right? At least we'd have some idea where the problem lies. I mean, there's a lot of people who are concerned about this issue of only 15 players per instance before it throws it tanks. Well, they'll get better, but 15 players is still 15 players.
15
and
players
then you have
better than 2 players. It's better than 5.
Well, yeah.
It's better than 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And they said that most of the game will be populated by AI, right? So if there are 15 actual player characters in it, there could be, 100 NPCs flying about. You won't even notice that there's only 15 players in.
Yeah, I know. That's my point. I think the people were freaking out that only 15 players. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know. What's wrong with that?
It's the people with the big ships, like the Idris or whatever, that needs more than 15 to be able to run. At the moment, you can't get an Idris
but
to
not an Idris
run
in the game, so it doesn't matter.
No, but they're thinking, is this going to be how it is? They're thinking the sky is falling. Like 15 is going to be the thing forever, and that's it, game over. But no, it will get better.
Yeah, the equipment manager looks tight. Gotta be fair.
Yeah, they show it a little bit later on where you actually see it being played with. Yeah, the home screen looks great. I love how they've dealt with that. I mean, this bit here, the animation on the pulse, it looks awesome, doesn't it? The way that it wobbles a little bit, it's just really good attention to detail, which is what this game's all about. It's going to look amazing. I mean, look at the top there where you got the Mobiglass banner, and just to the right-hand side, you got that. You can't read that text, but it still looks cool to have that stuff scrolling about at the top.
Yeah. Did you see that the heart rate, when it dropped, it consumed less oxygen?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The faster your heart rate goes, the more oxygen you consume in your tank. It's very cool.
The whole system does look awesome. I mean, I got an awful lot of additional confidence that when we do eventually see 3.0, it's just going to blow our minds when we see it. Because if Mobiglass is just one part, albeit a very important part of it, because you do an awful lot of interaction with the game via the Mobiglass, it has to be good. But seeing how good that is with all the other bits and pieces, it's worth waiting for. So I think people just need to wait. Although I understand that it is frustrating that we were expecting it to be the 17th would be the latest date that we have the beginning of the ETF, and looking at those the number of blockers as of Friday,
I
it's
think
not
we
going
might
to
get ETF maybe by Gamescom now. I think that's more likely. If you get even ETF at all, to be honest, I don't really see the point of ETF if you're going to polish the hell out of it. But
well, you never know. I mean, we could be being disingenuous. There could be, say, 4 or 5 of those 10 blockers are ones they need to get dealt with because it stops the game from running. The others, they're happy for ETF to test with. So it might come out before we think.
Yeah.
To the Evocati anyway.
Well, if they focus on the blockers and just do the blockers and then release the ETF, I think that would be the sensible choice, because then at least people know that, we're moving in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's all the others other than the blockers are the things that the ETF are supposed to be there for. And in a way, the PTU is also there to nail some of these other issues because it is a test universe, right? So I wouldn't expect all of these to be nailed before we see it released to the ETF. It depends on how bad they are.
They did say though, that all of them need to be fixed before we go to the ETF, but that could have just been a hyperbole or a miscomment or something like that. I don't know. That seems a bit to me like sort of high and moderate bugs, and really should be relatively, nothing really. Moderate bugs and low end bugs are really kind of like meh. Like a graphical glitch or something like that, or you can walk in through your arm clips through a wall, or stuff like that.
Exactly. I mean, you look at the stuff that's available on Steam in early access. They've all got bugs in them, but people are happy to pay to play them. Like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, for example. They've got some real stinker of bugs in it, and people are still playing it. Yeah. So it depends. I think, in a way, Chris wants this quality to be right bang up there, right? And I understand that that's how he's pretty much done everything that he's done in the past, to the limit of the technology he's had available to him. But, maybe they should just skip ETF this time.
Yeah.
When the blockers are done, give it to everybody who's a backer. I think especially if they're going to basically get it polished to the fact that all of these things are dealt with and they're happy that it can be played. The ETF don't need to be involved if they wait until all of these 78 issues are done before they release.
That's what I thought. I mean, that makes no sense. Wait until all the 78 issues are done and then releasing it to Evocati. What are they going to test, other than the few bugs they find themselves?
It's just be netcode testing them, but then everybody can do that. Right. I just noticed on that little video we had back then where you actually saw the boot up sequence from the outside on the visor. That looked awesome. I'd not seen that bit before. I must have missed it when I was doing my notes.
Did you see, there's a bit in here early in a little bit where 2 AI guys, NPCs, are stuck in the doorway. Did you see that?
I must have missed that bit.
I think it's in a little bit. I'll point it out. It's pretty amusing. It's like, this is all bugs. This is the kind of that to me is a moderate bug. Moderate, you know what I mean? Where your Mobiglass doesn't come up to the right position. That's a moderate bug. And that to me should not be a blocker for Evocati.
Yeah, that's a bug smashes episode, isn't it? Rather than something that's going to be a nightmare to resolve. Right.
Although one of those bug smasher episodes, the one where the crate's going in the building, that was a pretty brutal one.
Yeah, and the thing was all stretching out. That dude was carrying the crate, and it was all that was funny.
Yeah, and you had to coming back 3 days later, he's still trying to fix it.
yeah. It just goes to show these things can be insidious.
Is this the episode? Is this the part? No, I think it might be actually. There's a door opens and two guys can't fit through it and they're stuck.
I like the inventory manager app. Looks good.
It does. It looks really tight. I mean, all the UIs look really good. They've got some good UI guys. Definitely take it. Though, the ship customizer, they definitely have some issues with going backwards and forwards that I feel like I clicked the wrong thing, even because by accident or by the fact that I think that's how you get back, but it's not how you get back. Another button is how you get back, and that to me is poor UI design, because So hopefully they can adjust these things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I booted the game up this afternoon, just had a run about in the hangar. But now I know that 3.0's, around the corner in air quotes. I just can't get the want to actually boot the game up and play it because I just want to wait for 3.0 now because it's going to be so different. Everything is.
Yeah, so light years different, really. Come on, let's just get on with this.
This is the audio bit, which is quite cool.
I thought it was. I really couldn't care less about that.
I didn't like the electronic noises they had in there because that would just give me a headache.
Hopefully they can turn the Mobiglass noises off when when you're moving the mouse around, like click 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 click, click, you know what I mean? Because when you
yeah.
I really do hope they could turn those off. I don't mind the boot sequence noises and like maybe the hum in the background or whatever, but like. You know what I mean? Where you
yeah, I hope that. I thought that hum on this section here was literally just because he was inside a spaceship. I hope that's not the Mobiglass. That's bloody loud.
Well, whatever the click click noises when you're moving between buttons, I can't stand those. I really do hope they don't have an option for them to turn them off, but maybe they won't. I don't know.
Oh yeah, like when you're scrolling over options, it's going click, 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 click. Yeah. It's not one for me either. I definitely make a noise if you definitely click on something, but if you just mouse for something, I don't care about that.
Yeah. So,
yeah, this is where they go through the inventory app, I think, in this bit.
It's pretty awesome, actually. I just love it. It's such. There it is. Here's the two guys. Watch the left. Watch the left. Two guys.
Oh yeah.
Watch the left. There's a guy stuck in the doorway, and there's another guy up here in a minute, and they both get stuck and they get jammed together.
I totally didn't see that.
Watch. There's one. Another one appears in a minute.
Can't move past the doorway boundary.
Yeah. AI NPCs. At least you see them walking around. There's a couple that walked around, because we'll come back to now. There's a couple walking around. One walked past the guy in there with the
fair play. I pride myself on being pretty good on picking up these attention to detail type things, but I totally didn't see that. I was too busy concentrating on what he was doing with the star map rather than what's in the background.
There's a lot of people walking around actually in the background.
Yeah, that guy on the right managed to get through the door okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
you never know. Maybe that's one of the blockers.
What, AI?
Yeah, AI NPC.
To me, that's not a blocker. That is a critical bug. It's important to get fixed, but it's not going to stop you enjoying the game or playing the game, I should say.
No, you wouldn't want to see that in Squadron 42, but in the PTU you don't, and the alpha stroke beta of the PE, you don't really care about that.
No, that's pretty neat. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I like these. Those are like the static versions of the world detail view, which are outside the Mobiglass, which looks impressive.
There's Nyx.
Yeah.
Or not Nyx.
Grimhex,
which is in the Nyx system.
Or at least it will be when they put it in the right place.
Right.
It's in Crusader at the moment, which is wrong, but at least we can test it.
Yeah. It's pretty neat, and I like the guy's got different hair. He's got hair.
I was going to say he's got hair like you used to have back in the day.
Well, curly.
Yeah, curly hair, man.
Yeah.
I don't have any hair. I didn't have much back in the day either.
I just got a haircut yesterday. So
haircut. Yeah. I'm still trying to convince the wife to allow me to do a full-on Bic job on my head, but she won't let me do it.
Why not?
I don't know. So I guess she's got to live with it. And if I look like a cue ball, maybe she doesn't. She's afraid of getting, walking around with shades all the time. Otherwise, she'll get blinded. Put your head away, for Christ's sake.
Oh dear. So yeah, it's pretty tight. I like although I would like it if there was the planets were a little higher resolution and they weren't so sort of like opaque, sort of like translucent, but that's just a personal preference, I guess.
Yeah, true. I mean, it is quite intrusive as well, because obviously, if you can imagine, if you're sat waiting for a bus and somebody gets their Mobiglass out and starts dicking about with that, you'll be like right in your face.
Check the left.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. They have no respect for each other's personal space.
Two of them stuck in the doorway now.
It's like, after you. No, after you. That's a good spot.
That doorway is just messed up.
Yeah, bug door.
See, that's a moderate to high bug at the doorway. AI pathing. It's just pathing issue, it looks like.
Mm. So it's a moderate to high for us, but it might be a critical for Chris.
It's true. Chris is, I mean, although I don't see how that could be a critical, because that's like, especially maybe if it was going for like a release, like, you know, this is a release and we're sending it to the public, but this is like a very select few people who know all about alphas, and you know what I mean? It's like you're basically giving it to people basically who would love to work at CIG, who, you know all this stuff. So I don't see that.
I think the biggest concern that CIG have is that even though this is all NDA'd up to the hilt when it goes out to the ETF, they know that there will be leaks, and it's kind of unavoidable, and they just don't want anything shoddy to get out there, whether it's a leak or not. Because we had some leaks going back probably in one of our early episodes with the caterpillar that we found out about before anyone else had seen it yet. You know, that happens. That came from the ETF.
Does, but I didn't see any like leaks about how buggy the game was. It was just like content leaks. You know
sure. I think they're just terrified about anything that makes the game look crap getting out there.
To be honest, I think they lose more from not releasing than they do from leaks.
Yeah, I had a massive conversation earlier on today about the concern that a lot of people have that the marketing teams at CIG seem to have an awful lot more power than perhaps they would have in a traditional publisher, if you know what I mean. And that's saying something. You know, that from a technical perspective, you know, there are decisions made which, you know, would almost be something that a technical person would go, yeah, right, fair enough, no problem. But there seems to be so much concern about how it looks in the media, even though me and you know, we know it's Evocati is testing, so is the PTU. There will be bugs, things won't work properly. That's just the way it goes. But they seem to be so risk averse when it comes to it.
Yeah, they do. It's like if you're in Evocati, you're gonna be like, oh, there's a very good chance you're gonna have a miserable time. I mean, that's kind of one of the things about Evocati. You're not supposed to have fun. You know, it's not supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be a pain in the ass.
Even the PTU is supposed, you're there to test it. You're not there to play the game early and go, look at me, I'm in there first. You know, the Evocati and the PTU, you're there to test the game and report what issues you have, not to just get in there quickly.
They do seem to be using the PTU a bit more to sort of like test the waters, less so on the testing front. But Evocati shouldn't be fun, to be honest with you. It should be like crash, bug report, crash, bug report. You know.
That's what it's all about. I agree with you. And if either of us were lucky enough to get in there to help them test it, well, that's what we would do. We'd probably spend a lot of time documenting the issues, because that's what you're supposed to do. There's a rumor that they might put some concierge people into at the same time at the ETF, not make them ETF, but give them access at the same time. Mm-hmm. I've heard nothing about it, and I don't necessarily agree with it either, because
I don't think they should.
Just because people have spent what they have done on the game doesn't mean they're going to be good at testing, and that's what it's all about. Clues in the name, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's that done. Episode over, I guess, in terms of ATF. So I guess we're going to have to call this one done, unless you have any other comments on the notes here. Do you have anything
just
else
having
to
a quick
discuss?
look through. Just having a quick nose down it. I think we've kind of covered everything. One of the things that Chris did mention, he's talking about it right here, is the way there's been a certain criticism from certain sections about the render to texture system being, done even back in the day when under DirectX. But the difference here is the the render text system provides them the ability to have a 3D hollow box, or a hollow volume, I think they call it, to put something into, and it's not some sort of trick of just drawing a character model to make it look like it's in there. It's actually done differently using render to texture, which is something I don't think any game's done before, which is a fair comment. It isn't just trickery, it actually is a physical projection of something in the game, if you know what I mean.
Right, just like the mirrors and the video panels were sort of like you can make multiple copies of them and stick them, and it doesn't really give you any more, like, it doesn't take any more CPU or GPU away from you.
Yeah, it's just copying the same stuff, referring to the same memory registers and so on, and actually just duplicating it rather than go run through this GPU and render it again.
Yeah,
it's a decent way of doing it. Yeah. But ultimately, I think it was a good episode. I think the format that we're taking now is taking these one at a time. Means number one, we're more up to date and relevant, so we don't refer to things that were like 3 weeks ago, although that was my fault. And allows us to try to be a little bit more focused about it.
I actually think we should do it on Saturday, though. Do you know why? So that we can discuss the schedule report, because there might be some, a lot more things have changed since the schedule report.
That's a fair point. If they continue to do a schedule report on a Friday, which I don't know if they are or not.
They are.
Well, yeah, definitely. We'll take a view on that. If they do a new schedule report on a Friday, even with the new system, then yeah, we just sit. We'll do it on a Saturday night instead, because we can also, like you say, go through the schedule report, which is something that is part of our previous casts up to now.
Right. Yeah, so I think that's probably the wise call. I think from next week we'll do the ATV and the schedule report and go through the Burndown and stuff like that. Does that sound good?
Exactly. Yeah, sounds good. So Burndown first, then the ATV itself, and then the schedule report. Those three sections. I mean, obviously, if our viewers have any other questions or anything they want us to do, or any recommendations on the format of the show, or anything else they'd like to see, then leave a comment either in the Twitch channel or on YouTube once it's been uploaded, and we'd like to hear from you.
We would. Okay, so I have to go. So I have to go pick up my kids. So I guess we should call this one done.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching, and hopefully these like smaller, more frequent podcasts will be more interesting than or more entertaining. Just because I know like a lot of people miss the content when it's like so infrequent that they kind of like they lose track of it all, and like they're not doing very often, sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe what we should do then is go back to what we did originally, which was just do it once a week on a Saturday, even after the Burndown's finished, and then try that for a while.
Yeah, sounds like a
because the podcasts aren't as long, but it also means we're a lot more up to date with it, because it is just what's happened in the last few days.
Right. Okay.
Right, yeah, you best go get the kids, man. Otherwise, they'll be waiting for you.
They'll be fine for another minute. But thanks for watching, guys. You can subscribe on YouTube for our channel. We would appreciate it. We'll eventually get to have a channel name, I'm sure, at some point in the future, maybe in like a decade or something.
Yeah, exactly. So if you like it, tell your friends, again, to subscribe, even if it's your mum and she'll never watch, because it helps us. Cheers.
And if you have any comments, you can leave them in the video, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.